Hello, everyone, and welcome again to. I gotta call this. It became a show. So Peppe Merolla and friends, and this time, uh, I'm gonna have is gonna join me on this live screen. One of the best. I mean, uh, 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 one of my heroes because I feel very musically speaking, very related to who he is, what he does. Um, well, he doesn't really need any presentation. He doesn't need any compliments or anything because we all know how great he is. And here it is, the one and only Gary Husband. Here it is. Ciao, Gary.
Boy, what an introduction. Pepe, great to see you, man.
Likewise, Gary. Likewise. Nice to have you here. It's such a pleasure. And
Thank you.
by the way, I got some people also watching from Italy. So I'm going to say a few words in Italian. In that way, they can, understand a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today. And
Brilliant.
guys, ragazzi, se avete delle domande fatele pure, noi saremo felicissimi di rispondervi. Domande di musica, domande a Gary o a me, quello che sia, ma a Gary, perché oggi è il nostro patron di casa, Gary Husband. Quindi se ci sono delle domande fatele pure, noi saremo solamente felici di leggervi e rispondervi e dialogare con tutti voi. So everywhere, anyway, guys, Gary Husband, Peppe Merolla and friends, thank you, Gary. If you guys have any questions, please do so. Don't feel shy. We'd be happy to hear from you and answer your question. That's the main idea about those live streams, to create an interact between the artist and musicians. So, Gary, it's all
I
you
got a
now.
question for you.
Oh,
How do you
please.
get how do you get so good? Pepe, I've been checking you out, and I'm amazed by your playing, but even more so by the breadth of your playing and and how you have brought aspects of this realm, that realm together into and integrated them into the way you do things and enriching you as a player. It's
Well,
phenomenal. I saw some fantastic footage of you, and you were like channeling Philly Joe or something. And
I love Philly Joe, yeah.
I mean,
But
it wasn't Philly Joe; it was you. But the fact that you have that knowledge so important. It's everything I'm trying to encourage myself. For people to be really, really open and do their research and listen and tune into these people who have changed everything. So that's
well,
my little thing. Thank you, Pepe.
no, no. First of all, this is so kind. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Now I'm gonna get an attitude because you said that you like my playing. No, just kidding.
Well, who wouldn't?
No, 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 no. So the reason, why I am who I am today is because I listen to everyone. Starting from Philly Joe,
Yeah.
Alvin Jones,
Mm.
and not only, like I said, I'm feel very related to your music, to your soul, for who you are, because I play different instrument. I play keyboard, I play trumpet. I graduated as a classical trumpet player, and I'm a drum. So I listen to everyone. I listen to from Lester Young to Charlie Parker, Lee Morgan, and Freddie Hubbard, Miles, and all that stuff. Dizzy, and to anyone in the not just drummers. I listen to music and I listen to every different kind of era. To me, while I'm listening to Jimi Hendrix, then I listen to John McLaughlin. I listen to playing, and then I listen to Django Reinhardt, you know
Mm.
or John Coltrane. To me, any type of music that can stimulate, and gives me and thrills me, I'm in. I mean, to me, there is no way. Usually jazz musicians, they kind of like very picky, or like bebop. And I am an open guy. I love music at 360 degrees, and I listen to everyone, and I get inspired from everyone. And I'm sure the same thing for you.
Yeah, right on, right on.
So, Gary, I saw a video of you uh, thinking about concept in five. I think it was in five, right? The video you posted recently was like a couple of weeks ago.
Most recent one, yeah, yeah.
So, what is the concept behind that? Because, as you know,
Well,
5 4 time signature. As you know, nowadays it's like playing 4 4. I would be very surprised if musicians nowadays they feel uncomfortable playing five, because 5 and 7, or 9 nowadays, or 13, it became something that we should play like we're playing 4 4 without even thinking about it. So, but what is the approach? I saw you counting differently. What is your approach behind that? Which I love it.
well, I started out the video by just counting 4 in the space of 5, and the fact that I was doing something with my hands and also singing,
Uh-huh.
there was a dual aspect to what I was doing. So there was kind of the simultaneous activity based on this logic, singing one against the other and vice versa. And in demonstrating that, it was just an example of just one of the things that have proven to liberate me as a player, so that I can just, not reach into a trick bag of tricks as such, but just have at my disposal some kind of command of how something is situated up against something else. So, really, and another really criteria is that sometimes it's difficult to know how to aim these classes at people and what standard they are. So, but by the same token, I see some of the most, I was watching something on Drumeo the other day, and I think it was Tony Royster playing
Yeah.
some kind of thing. And I'd never thought of that combination before. And I thought, I wonder if I can do that,
Oh,
So
you're talking about the 8 notes on the right cymbals, and with the left
yeah,
hand for the 16th, and then
yeah,
adding the floor tom and.
sure.
Well, yeah. This is no. It's I saw that too, and it's
Yeah.
great. I find that kind of a way of playing, actually, that kind of a stuff, into a book, believe it or not, called Four-Way Coordination.
Nice.
If you analyze four-way coordination as a drummer, four-way coordination has that kind of stuff. Even like all the gospel thing, that all those gospel chops. I mean, to me, in my opinion, yeah, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I love Tony Royster. Actually, I love the early stuff of Tony Royster when he was really swinging it. It sounded kind of like Tony Williams. But now he's he's staying, and he got his own voice, and you can hear the mixture between Denny's and and all that stuff. But technically speaking, as you know, and some of that stuff you can find it. That's I think that's a good tip for our followers, people who are listening right now. If you guys check out Ted Reed, which is this book, I'm going to show you. Here, I have it right here, right handy. The New Breed by Gary Chester, which there's a 59 system to execute this book. And if you go deep into four-way coordination, you can find all those combinations that once you get it together, you can get that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Listen, I think there's 100 zillion ways to come at this, and yeah, it's true that people are much more au fait with, as a rule, with odd time signatures, as we call them. Not odd in Bulgaria, that's for sure. But it's and it's just ways of just other ways. You know what it is basically that I try and put forward is some things that have liberated and enabled me. That's all. And invariably, because I'm an experimenter and an improviser, I like to try to sort of work these things out myself. They're not really derivative of what I've seen. So it's just out there for people to go, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll have a go at that. Oh, but this is quite tough, so I'll work on that. So we're all finding things from each other's methods all the time, I think, and able to be of help just to liberate ourselves further. You know, all I want is to be free. So this
That's
whole
it.
aspect is very important to me. And sometimes I have a habit of confusing the total beginners or first time onlookers of a time such as 4 or groups of 5 inside 4 with people who are more advanced. So it's a hard call to sometimes make with the videos, but I've had a lot of good responses. So
No, no, I loved it too. When I saw that video, also the way you were counting it, it reminded me of the tabla way of kind of rhythm tabla Indian.
color system, yeah, the conical.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's like 17 years or whatever on with John McLaughlin now.
Yeah.
So this is all part of a big realm of understanding and integration into the music that we play. And there's, I'm taking all of it. It's all
Of
just
course.
going in me like a sponge. So we just develop by our experiences, I guess, and just carry on being more and more enriched by what we can and what we are striving to do, what we're stretched, what we feel an inner urge to do, and that's all I'm trying to sort of put across, really.
You know what I love about, what it makes you really great is the way you talk and how humble you are. You have no idea how great you are, so that's why you're talking that way. You don't even know how great you are.
Well,
you know, but
I don't know.
what it's like everybody else. I've met so many talented, great musicians
Yeah,
that like Mickey Rooker, the drummer Mickey Rooker and Jimmy
yeah, I used to
Cobb, so many
love
great,
to.
and they all are so humble. And when you hear like Mickey Rooker talk, which Mickey Rooker, as you know, he was the drummer who played with everyone. I mean,
Yeah,
Modern Jazz Quartet, Lee Morgan, uh, 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 you name it. He played with Dizzy for 14 years. Played with Count Basie, Ella Fitzgerald, Joe Pass. The big record, the Big Four. That's Mickey Rooker on drums. And
yeah,
when Mickey talks about music, about drumming, he sounds like somebody's learning day by day. He's like, I'm learning, man, and then he talks about Philly Joe. And then he talks about, like he's a student. And I feel like Mickey. And he goes like, yeah, man, that's what it is, man. I listen to Philly Joe. Philly Joe listened to Jimmy Cobb, or Philly Joe listened to Buddy Rich. And even Jimmy Cobb, one time outside a club in New York,
mm,
Jimmy Cobb was, with the headphones and listened to music. And I said, Mr. Jimmy, I said, who you listen to? And he goes like, I'm listening to Philly Joe. It's so the way you talk. So it's like, it really explains
yeah,
why you are a wonderful musician, because like everybody else, like everyone, each one of the people who really love and respect and worship music, they
mm,
always keep their feet on the ground, and they always open mind, and and the music shows it when you go play.
yeah. I hope.
No, no, it does. I know that, but no, I feel it, because when I see you play, I feel like, man, check this out. So, but how was when did you start playing music? How that started? Like how that
Uh,
happened?
well, happened because my mom wouldn't really let me become a racing driver, which is what I wanted to be. But I was also heavily engrossed in classical music, but I wanted to be a Formula One driver. At least those were my dreams at the time. But really, as far as music was concerned, I was surrounded by it, and I suspect maybe like you, I was surrounded by quite a lot of music in the house. I don't know if your parents were musicians or musically minded, or So my mother a dancer, my father a fantastic musician, classical by discipline and training, but also active in performing with a big band and a big lover of Brazilian music. So there we have, like, right there, I'm hearing all this different stuff coming out of the stereo. And I was gravitating to piano really young, and my dad said, well, if you're going to learn piano, you learn classical. And I'm so happy you did, because it was a fantastic training to do that.
Yeah.
And the technique that formed at that young age is still with me now, even though I'm not a big practicer. I've never really been a big practicer. But it's that was really enriching, until the point my classical piano teacher was starting to put me up in competition with other students, as if to sort of compete and to be up there and be an exhibitionist and be bigger and better somehow, if that's possible, than the next platform concert protege. And that was it for me. I was, I just really couldn't take any of this competitive element. So as I knew she hated jazz, I told her that I just started playing drums, which was the most, you couldn't imagine the look on her face when I told her that.
I know.
So the thing is, but you study classical piano, but like you, I'm listening to all this different music. I'm seeing Mitch Mitchell on TV with Jimi Hendrix, who I loved. I'm seeing Mahavishnu. I'm listening to Tony Williams' Lifetime. I'm listening to Miles, and all this different music. And this was just a big pain in the backside as far as she was concerned. So she called my dad and said, no more, which was great. So it was like Liberation Day, and I was starting to play drums for the first time. I must have been, 10 or 11 or something.
So that was a big shock from piano, because every parent go, he's going to be a pianist, and then it's like, I'm going to go and play drums. It was like, what?
Yeah, but I guess I wanted both, and I never was really open to the fact that I'd have to be such a warrior in my life to make that happen, because there was a lot of resistance. And this is one of the things I like to try to get over to students of this whole art form, is to really get behind what you believe in, and you intrinsically believe and intrinsically feel that is important to you, and live it and eat it and breathe it, and it becomes your reality, and that it's unshakable and nobody can destroy it in you. And I literally had to adopt that, because the number one point that came across was and again, this might be similar to what you had at some point in your upbringing or career so far, was that musicians would say to me, listen, you're not going to get any work if you keep calling yourself a pianist and a drummer. And I would say, why? And he said, well, because they don't know where to place you. And automatically you're like a difficult, complicated item in their eyes. You don't do just this, you do something else completely different. And, it causes them to think like, well, what is he really? And this question, what is he really? And I would say, time after time, I would reinforce, I'm really them both. But the whole sum of what I feel as a musician is represented by my involvement equally in both these instruments. And they would, no, you can't do that.
You
Until the
know,
point I had to say something like, do I have to give up an instrument to please you? Which actually happened. I said that, and this one guy in question went very quiet, and the conversation ended.
I gotta say, I gotta pick you up on this one, what you just said, because the same thing it happened to me when I was, gigging at the beginning in Italy. I was playing different instruments. When I came up, I was getting a gig as a trumpet player or, keyboard player in the band or
Yeah,
a drummer.
yeah,
And some people say, what does he want to play? Does he want to play drums? Is he
yeah,
a drummer? Is he a piano player? Is he a trumpet player? And I feel
yeah.
like, I felt, for me, I said, look, I might not be, Chick Corea. I might not be Keith Jarrett, but I am a drummer who knows how to play piano, which makes me a better drummer. And
Mm-hmm.
if I can do the job, if I can do the gig, I'll take it because I'm very responsible as a person. I have so
Mm-hmm.
much respect for the music that if I got a call to play keyboard and for example, and I'm not at that level, I'll turn it down, and practice. I give, but I guess it took me. I had to just quit, try to get gigs or accepting gigs as a trumpet player or as
Mm-hmm.
a piano player, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the mentality is people get confused when it's too much. They
Yeah,
feel like wait a minute, is he a piano player? Also, because as you know, first of all, it takes so much hard work to get good on one instrument and
mm-hmm.
and keep the same level, technically or musically speaking, on another instrument. How you do that? See, that's my question to you now. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you keep up the chops with both instrument that you play? So how much time you spend on each instrument, for example? How did you coordinate that, organize that?
This might sound strange, and I don't admit this very often, but I spend large periods of time away from instrument, my both my instruments sometimes. But it's not intentional. But what I find out of being away from one of the instruments, for instance, drums, most commonly drums, and sometimes it's many months before I'm applying what I'm imagining or thinking of to an actual drum set. And I'm seeing questions.
No, that's it's a guitar
What's the
player
secret?
from Naples, actually, Federico Luongo.
Hey, Federico, thanks for your kind comment. That's really nice. Anyway, just to get back on track, where were we again? Sorry.
We were talking about coordinating. You say you stay away from the music. Sometimes you take a break,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. I do. But what is happening is all going on here, bodily, inside, in the interior, constantly. I mean, this is a work, if you can call it work. It's a process that's going on constantly within me, and I guess in you and in every other sincere, driven, and motivated musician in the world. And that it's constantly evolving, constantly feeling an extension, hearing an idea, an inspiration for an extension to that. How can that be? How would that sound? And you're walking down the road and thinking of these things. I am. I'm sure you are. I'm sure we all are. And that work and the creation and the somehow the pull together of everything that starts to make you integrate the kind of things that you want into somehow being an expression of what you want to say is happening on a constant basis. I really believe that. And I don't believe that the same, the maybe taking it to its farthest extent. I know a lot of people who practice who don't enjoy practicing. And I have to ask myself how much good it's doing them. Because If you're not enjoying it, your mind elsewhere, your heart's elsewhere, your whole motive is not in what you're doing. So my reaction would be to say maybe try practicing less, but what the time that you do spend with the instrument in analysis or whatever you want to do, studying somebody, working something out, make it a shorter experience, so that experience, maybe a little bit like learning a language, that when they're teaching you a new language, they can say, don't try and remember everything. Don't, this whole thing of trying to cram in all these new words and the feminine gender and the male gender and the plural and etc. It's okay. It's all in there, and we'll just work on awakening it gradually through repetition, but not all at once. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I know exactly what you mean, and I feel the same. And this lead me to a question for you. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I'm sure it does. It ever happens to you that you are in your studio, surrounded by your piano, keyboards, instrument, and recording equipment, and just out of the blue, start recording, get one note or maybe a bass line or a chord that will inspire you certain things without writing any composition, anything. You don't even know what you're going to record. And from one simple thing that you create, you make a beautiful composition, and then afterwards you write it. And it happens to you. Don't you think that's the best way to make music?
I think it is. Did you watch this? There's some great footage on YouTube of Joe Zawinul, and he's basically improvising, but he's recording everything.
Yes.
To the point where he's so comfortable in this methodology that he goes back and in some cases writes an entire piece based on that improvisation, and goes back, and of course in those days they didn't have MIDI, but they could just transcribe everything they wanted out of it, and that it was very, very close to what he'd improvised in real time. So it's it really reminds me of seeing this video when you speak of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it happens to me. I feel like when I get my pencil and paper and I start writing stuff, for some reason I get to the point that I feel like I'm not hearing it. I can't hear, I hear it, but I don't hear it the way I really want it to sound.
Yeah.
So, and then I stop. I let it go for, I don't know, maybe a year or 6 months or a month, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I go back to that phrase, and I feel like, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead, set some rhythm, play what I feel, what I wanted to hear. That's because I do also believe that it's very important to write music and play the music with others, and the music has to sound the way the composer hears it. I mean, sometimes you feel like, okay, on the piano here, on the drums, I need someone who sounds like this for this particular song. I need this type of sound. I need this type of vibe. That maybe another pianist, even better than the other one, would not give you that, would not please your music. That's another thing that, I don't know if you agree with that.
I do. We're going back to this Duke Ellington philosophy of he used to write for every single member of his band personally, and what he knew about them as gentlemen and musicians, he wrote for them entirely. And I was really inspired by that. There's just one little point in all of this.
Duke
I agree with you.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. No, I hear and I relate to you exactly. Do you want to see my C scale? Because I already played played trumpet.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to admit this to you. And I was the world's worst trumpet player. My trumpet player, teacher,
You play
peripatetic
trumpet?
teacher, yeah, in school.
Good. Play
No,
it.
it was probably. Oh, you want me to play solo now?
Yeah. Play
No,
the trumpet.
I'll show you my C scale. All right. So I know.
See
All right.
now, which now in this case, you play a C scale, but the natural sound is a B flat concert scale. We call this
The B flat instrument. Yeah. I know.
no, because open position, that's B flat. It took me a long time. Took me a long time to get used to it, to the fact that we play B flat. Now I hear B flat, but when I talk to the other guys here, I gotta say I'm playing C, and I feel like I'm lying to myself. I'm playing B flat, for Christ's sake.
That's why we have concert C.
That's it.
Ever, and he actually begged me to stop. Please stop playing trumpet. It's okay. You don't need to play trumpet. So I went.
Who said that?
My trumpet teacher. It was
Why?
the worst noise in the world. Believe me, it really was. I mean, I'm not like you. You're a classical player. Come on.
Well, because I started, that was by mistake. You know that? I graduated as a classical trumpet player by mistake. Because
whose mistake?
Because in the conservatory in Italy, 1975, 76, I did the middle school inside as an intern at the conservatory. So,
okay.
But when I did the audition to the conservatory, I wanted to play drums. I said, I want to graduate as a drummer. I want to get my degree. But at the time,
they still do.
No, there was no drums faculty. There was no jazz program in the Conservatory of Music in Naples or in Italy. At the time, there was no jazz music. Now they do, but at the time, none. So my teacher says, man, you're already a drummer. Why don't you graduate as a classical percussionist? And I said, I love percussion, but I love drums. I don't want to be a vibraphone player or anything like that. I said, so I said, look, I picked something completely different, something that I did not know at all, which was trumpet. I did the auditioning on the piano, but then I switched as a as a trumpet player, which I didn't know that instrument at all. So I took 6 months private with a very good teacher, and then.
Right.
So, but that's the only, and when I graduate after 3 or 4 years, actually, that I was already practicing classical trumpet, I felt, man, I might be able to do this. When you feel inside your bones and you feel like I'm able to do it, inside, if you can.
Yeah.
So, and I felt like, man, I think I can do this. And in fact, I graduate, and I was start playing trumpet. Then I got to a certain point in my life. I felt like something was eating me inside. I said, man, I gotta be a drummer. I cannot stay away from the drums. And that's why I went back and practicing and take a serious lessons again, to on a drum. But that's what it was. And I decided to just play one instrument at the time. But I know, now I got a question, because that's something important that many people talk about it, but they, for some reason, don't pursue it. I think it's very important for a drummer to know about harmony, to hear the chords, to be able to hear all the intervals, to be able to hear a major, minor key of a tune that you're playing, to be able to get an understanding of the harmonic progressions. And and how important it is for a drummer to know at least a melodic or an harmonic instrument like piano, for example.
Mm.
What do you think?
Well, I think that on basic terms, it gives you a sense of form. As soon as you can start to distinguish form in music inside of the context of what you're playing, however complex it might get, you're already getting somewhere as a drummer, in my opinion, because once you have an understanding of the way music is put together and why music has the kind of effect it does, and subsequently what's required from the drums. And this is the kind of insight that I find it's probably more natural, obviously more natural to the likes of myself and you, because we've come up that way. But with a lot of other people, I don't think it's immediately obvious as to how, really, in a general sense, a massive studying an instrument such as piano will start to give you an introduction into the true dimensions in music. I'm talking about how to use dynamics. What are crescendos? What's rubato? I mean, I know we're concerned with rhythm, but as far as I'm concerned, rhythm is also in rubato. You hear an avant-garde player play free, no time, but where he puts things is in such a good place every time. Now that's rhythm to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
So even in abstract free music, there's rhythm, because the rhythm, having good rhythm, to me determines if you can put things in great places and make things, obviously feel good and have good time, obviously, but just taking it to its extra level a little bit, I believe rhythm is so much, and that's what gives the pianist in us what we have, which is an extra dimension to a lot of piano players. Believe me, a lot of piano players, yeah, learn a lot of complex stuff, but often don't have the overall perception of how things will come out, how repeated phrases over something will come out. We understand that as drummers because we're involved in that improvisationally all the time. So that gives the piano side of us a lot of ability, a lot of insight as to where we are, where we're going to come out, how long the bar is, how long the sequence is before it repeats. Therefore, you construct something in the rhythm of that sequence, and all of a sudden it starts to sound musically complete. I know I'm talking from the opposite way, but
No,
what
no,
all
no,
this
no, no.
gives,
You're making perfect sense.
yeah, but what all this gives the drummer, of course, is above and beyond everything else. I think it teaches us to listen.
Yes.
And where are any of us if we're not listening? From the first moment that something starts to register in us that we want to be a musician, doesn't matter, irrespective of the instrument, you get this experience invariably from listening and feeling a sense of oneness with this powerful thing that we know as making music. And I know I'm putting it in very simplistic forms, but I think that the involvement from piano and the development on piano, coming through harmony, developing a solo voice, whatever, is just automatically expanding what you do on the other instrument that you play. In our case, drums. In your case, trumpet too.
Well, when I practice, because I hardly practice my trumpet. What I do, once in a while, I feel like I want to play it because we feel attached to the instrument that we spent many years to graduate for many
You
years
bet.
with. So, and I feel like, man, let me go see my trumpet, how she's doing. To me, my
Yeah.
instruments are like my mistress. I I go over there. She's beautiful. I caress her, and then I kiss her, and then I play a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel bad when sometimes it's in the box right there. I mean, I never pick it up, and I watch it. Even when I go to bed in the nighttime, I go through my living room, and one thing I do, I turn on the light, I look at my drum set, I look at the piano, everything is cool, and then I go to bed. Just it's just like, I don't know, it's a psychological thing. I mean, each one of us, we have our own thing. To me, I'm like, this is my life, like like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people, not many people who are not in the music will understand that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to deal with people that they normal people, because here it is, that's the truth. We are not a common and normal people. We're not.
No.
Okay, we wear a mask every day just to deal with regular people. But if you guys would really be inside our head, you guys would say, "Oh my God," you know.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
we got some people here writing. Tommy
Okay.
is writing. Let's see. Gary è un grande batterista, ma soprattutto
Oh,
molto personale. Cosa consiglia ai giovani per studiare e soprattutto essere più personali nello stesso momento? Studiare comunque i grandi, ma non copiarli, ma essere più personali. Se ha dei consigli. So, Tommy is asking, let me read that again. Tommy wrote a Bible.
he did. Wow, what a beautiful language, man.
And Tommy goes like, yes, Gary is he's a great drummer. He got his own voice. Gary got his own voice. Then what would you advise for the young and upcoming musicians who to be able to be more personal, more like to sound like themselves? What would you suggest to the youngest musicians, if you have any advice, for that?
Yeah, I often feel it's to really try and give advice is like putting myself on some kind of pedestal when at the same time I feel like a continual student in a sense, which isn't to say that I'm not monitoring closely where I am, and it isn't to say that I'm not pleased with a variety of things that I've done. It's not to say that I'm not very unhappy by a lot of things that I've done, but I've got a general good sense of where I am. But what I haven't really done to excess is really just tune into others, and in particular the people that tune into others like it's one person, like one artist. And I've heard from some people who are having difficulties and raise questions about originality. How can I become more personalized in the music? Easy. Start listening to some other things. Start listening to some Middle Eastern music, or some flamenco, or North or Hindustani or Carnatic Indian music. Go and listen to the Gatam players and Mridangam players. Go and get immersed into some of that. It's okay. Just it's a journey, but you can get. I mean, I spend such large portions of time. I know it's a contradictory thing to say, but sometimes I hardly listen to anything at all except Miles Davis.
Yeah. Miles changed the music. Miles changed the music 5 times in his life.
I just have to listen to that guy, and it doesn't matter what period either. But I mean, I have my favorite periods, but it's just that guy. What he did was so everything to me that I just want it around when I'm cooking some nice food or trying to make something nice for my partner, and she's into Miles too, and we both have Miles in the kitchen. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I
just
agree.
to have that guy in there,
Cioè, allora, let me answer that to Tommy. Tommy, lui diceva che automaticamente è importante ascoltare tutto. L'unico modo per avere un tuo che ti può aprire, diciamo, di pensare la musica a 360 gradi. È proprio questo che poi in effetti abbiamo sempre detta sta cosa, l'ho sempre detta sfegatatamente, mi viene proprio naturale dirlo, di ascoltare tutto quello che è musica, dalla Middle Eastern, brasiliana, cioè tutto quello che è musica bisogna ascoltare, perché è importantissimo. Poi lui ascolta tantissimo Miles, che poi come ben sappiamo Miles ha cambiato la musica 5 volte nella sua vita. Cioè ha cambiato proprio il modo delle 5 generazioni, ha cambiato musica 5 volte, ha fatto tantissimo. Quindi questo è il suo consiglio. Now we have somebody out here who's writing you. Seems a long time and like another country when I first came across a young Mr. Husband at Ronnie Scott in the late 70s.
Oh no,
well,
impossible.
He's still young.
I was born in 1989.
No.
Say, you must have mistaken me for somebody else. No, it was me, probably. Yeah, definitely in the late 70s. I would have been. Was I playing in the club or just hanging out?
I have no idea.
Anyway, but yeah, I was doing both.
And of course, Tommy saying, and of course, he's also not only a great drummer, but also a great pianist and musician. We got my friend here, Jimmy Ford from LA, drummer. Jimmy Ford is another wonderful drummer. He used to play. He played with a lot of people, but he was also in a band with Lionel Hampton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a great singer. And a friend.
I saw great. I saw Lionel Hampton once, Panama Francis on drums. Remember him?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I got to say one extension to the question you last asked me though. Another great thing that I regard particularly important for you to start becoming more and more yourself is to keep playing with all kinds of different people, because whatever you play, I mean, I started my life in big bands playing swing drums, 16 years old. I had to be a swing drummer. So I had to listen to all those drummers from the 40s and 50s and 60s to get that happening, to get it to feel in the ballpark authentic, so that make that music feel right. And along the way, because PA systems were not what they were then, not what they are now.
Yeah.
And, we had a lot of clarity problems, and we used to play a lot of big halls, and there were complaints that some of my stuff wasn't coming through. So I used to record myself from a long way in a room right the opposite side and start playing as I'd normally play. Accents, dynamics, whatever. And it didn't take me long through analysis of that to realize that certain notes weren't coming through. Small notes weren't being heard. And I had to address...
you mean ghost note?
Ghost notes, very quiet stuff, little bounce strokes, whatever, weren't being heard. So I had to address through finding out that way what was coming across to people. I'm not talking about a sophisticated sound system. I'm talking about a guy standing over the other side of the room. How much can he actually hear that I'm playing? And what I want to get across that I feel is integral to what this music is about and how I'm feeling to play it right now. So I want it clear and everything broadcasting on the same level. So I found out playing with this big band that no problem with accents. All my accents were loud and clear. That stayed with me from the punk band I worked in just before the big band. So no problem playing with energy. But what I lacked was any clarity with anything that wasn't accented. So right there, I had a reason to address that and bring a lot of that in line. And that experience gave me a certain sound on snare drum, which is still with me today. Now, any more personal than that, I can't say. So in address, was it Roberto who asked just one question ago?
That was Tommy. That was
Tommy.
Tommy.
Sorry, my apologies. Scusi.
No, don't worry.
The what is to go through a myriad of different experiences, as many as you can, playing with different people, playing different music, and music that requires all sorts of different things from you. And for you to be an authority in that music and be the real thing and make it feel correct and right and good. And all of this starts to make you a personal player. I really believe that.
No, I agree, 100%. And also another thing I would like to
That and a glass of
say.
red wine every now and again. This is good for personal
No,
playing too.
salute.
So,
When the moon needs you, I like a big pizza pie. That's amore. No, that's important. That's important. So that's life. You know,
that's it.
I know some people they don't drink a glass of wine. They don't do this. They don't do that, and then they got hit by a truck and they're gone.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And just before that headlight is about to knock you brainless.
That's it.
Why didn't I have a drink? Yeah.
So even like on my, when I gig, I don't know if that happens to you. There's no way I can start a gig if I don't get at least a nice glass of wine or a nice beer, because it gets me, in the mood. Just one beer, but it makes me feel like, okay, here I am. I'm in the zone. But if I don't drink, I know some people that they never drank, so they never really had any beers or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they are able to play normal, like, no problem. Me, I feel like since I've been always around, jazz musicians, clubs, and having a beer, a couple of beers after the second set, and the best music happens after the second beer, for some reason.
Somehow, yeah.
Somehow.
I see the same thing, and it doesn't always happen like that for me. And but the times that it does happen, you think, well, I'm always going to have a little beer before playing, and then the next time I have a little beer, and it's, shit, I wasn't on top of my game here, or I'm slowing down, or what the hell's happening to me? So sometimes it can be wonderful. In my experience, sometimes, and I think, that's the last time I'm going to drink anything. But then I come to the next gig and I'm all wound up and I'm tense and everything's sounding nervous and I'm thinking, I mean, sometimes it's I've never really stopped thinking about like what can aid this process, what can make it happen more times than I have obviously control over, and how can I bring this about more often, that I feel ready to play, and the fact that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just, music keeps you guessing.
Yes.
It just keeps you out there thinking, take your chances.
Yeah.
Take it.
Well, I think I will be if I would be your neighbor.
We would probably make good neighbors, actually, Pepe.
Oh yeah, because I will be always bothering you all the time. Hey man,
Well, vice versa.
can we play some?
Listen,
let's play two drums. Actually, I would love to play two drums with you, because it would be so inspirational to me, man. You got so much music coming out of your body. That's even undescribable. So, but not only the reason, I would love to have also, you would be the perfect keyboard player for a drummer. See, that's what drummers don't get. To me, it's like, man, get a husband. It would be the perfect, because I know so many great keyboard player, great keyboard player.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know if that happens to you or if you ever met someone who told you the same thing. So here it is. Now you meet someone that is a great keyboard player, great concept, great keyboard player. Then you lay down a beautiful groove, right?
Mm.
And you lay down this beautiful groove, and this keyboard player does not lock in with you the way you really want it. For example, to
Mm.
they don't have some of them. I know so many greats, I mean, that for some reason they don't lock in
Yeah.
because they're not. That's why I also always suggest to some of the students that I know when I do some. If you are a piano player, take drum lessons at least
Yeah.
for 3 or 4 months. Get
Right.
some groove going on because you have no idea. In my honest opinion, of course, because I'm nobody. That's I'm just a human being who loves
No,
music, and I tell what
level.
I feel, and I tell the truth. I'm about the truth.
It's a level playing field here, brother.
So, thank you. That makes me feel like $1,000,000. Thank you. Coming from you, it's beautiful. But here it is. I tell always all the keyboard piano players, take at least 3 or 4 months in drum lessons. Get a pair of sticks, get a little cheap drum set, and start grooving in all different tempos.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why a lot of keyboard players, as you know, and you're a great drummer, you are, a master of your instrument. I always tell them, pick any song, and I'm sure you're gonna start about this. You're gonna say something. Pick any song, the most famous songs, whatever. You just call me any standard right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy goes like, okay, 7 Steps to Heaven. Bum, 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 bum. Now pick any tempo in 7. So right now you got to be able to sing that melody, play that melody in 7 without thinking. So ding down, ding down, boom, 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 boom. It can be any other song. Can be 4. So,
Oh, yeah. Getting into a half there. Oh, that was steaming.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I hear exactly. Most troubling to me, Pepe, is, and I've heard this referred to, that a lot of musicians don't seem compelled enough by rhythm. And I know we only just met tonight, and we've maybe written a messenger once before, but I know instantly that our language and passion for rhythm and need for and hunger for rhythm it's of the essential. It's of the essential of everything. And
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're playing waltzes in a dinner dance band or folk music or rhythm. I mean, yeah, of course, rhythm and blues, but any kind of music, man. Rhythm is everything. It's everything. I
Like
mean,
you just said, you
even if
said
you're
any
playing,
kind of music, right? Any kind of music. Neapolitan songs, folk songs. Oh, sole mio, do, 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 dee, dee, doo, doo. Right?
exactly.
Okay. 1, 2, and 1, 2. Ba-da-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo, ba-da-ba-doo, ba-ba-da-ba-doo-doo-doo, ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-doo, or in 7. Ba-da-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo, ba-da-ba-doo, jigga-jigga-ga-ga, ba-da-ba-doo, jigga-ga. In 9. So what I'm saying is, get any song and play it in any time signature. That's the exercise that I always tell to do the drum, my students.
Yeah, that's a goodie. Yeah, and
Pick
then
any song right now, instant, and just do it any time signature. Anyone.
yeah, and then improvise on it.
That's it. That's what the deal is.
That's
Improvise
it.
on the form. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I see a lot of the kind of attitude that that alludes to this kind of attitude. Okay, rhythm is something we have to put up with until it's time for me to take the great sweeping rhapsodic solo. And I'm going, really? You know, I read something like that once, and it really, really upset me.
Oh no, although
That
you were breaking up. What did you say? I couldn't hear you.
no, I read that. Did you hear the example that I
No,
gave?
I lost you for a second. I couldn't hear you.
The what I'd read was a young musician saying, "Let's face it, rhythm is something we have to get through, or in terms of rhythm playing is something we have to do to be able to get to the stage where we can go and have a solo." And I'm thinking, wow, that
That's
that's
how.
some that's some alternative thinking there.
Well,
And, that really upset me actually to read
first
that.
of all, as you know, even when he's taking a solo, he's playing rhythm.
It
So,
better be.
you know, if he's taking
He
a
or
solo
she.
and he's missing the rhythm, you don't want to hear that type of solo. That would be a
No,
solo by himself at home.
no.
you know,
I
I
mean,
mean,
look,
freedom
I'm
is the
playing.
to me is the most important foundation, the most important thing of everything. If you got the rhythm, you got the 50% of music covered because you at least you play on time. You say a phrase. I mean, that's rhythm right there. If you don't have that, that means you can't play music on time. You can play beautiful notes, but at the wrong place, and it's worth nothing to
No,
me.
no. It doesn't go in your body properly. I
I don't
know
know if you agree,
exactly.
but anyway.
I I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And even in some the kind of musicians I work with, Alan Holdsworth, for instance, who's known for his legato and rhapsodic emotive playing. People don't think of him as a rhythm player, but rhythm was everything to him. I mean, he had the most unbelievable sense of time, Alan. But he knew what he was doing in relation to the rhythm. So he had automatically authority. He heard what the drummer was doing all the time, Pepe. And you know, this is different from the people who have this total misconception about someone like Alan, like, oh, it's free form, it's all loose and flowing, and you know, there's nothing digging in. On the contrary. And John McLaughlin, never happier than when he's dropping back with the drummer and me and the bassist playing some boogaloo thing. I mean, any more of a rhythm enthusiast you cannot find. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky.
No, no, you're lucky, and I think
Mm,
you're not the only person who's lucky, but also the people who work with you are lucky because you're a super talented musician. I've been following you for a very long time, Gary, and I love your work. I mean, I saw. No, no, come on. So I saw your video on YouTube playing with Billy Cobham,
yeah.
and you stop playing the keyboard, you get up, which, as you know, and it happens to me all the time, keyboard, because in that moment your mindset is on I'm a keyboard player, but I also know that you knew it inside. Okay, I'm about to stop playing keyboard. I got to go on the drums and not only and play with Billy Cobham,
Mm,
two drums. So at least a
no
couple
kidding.
two before you were trying to set your mind to say, "Yo, you are about to go and play drums now." So
Mhm.
I don't know if I make sense because you have to set your mind that says, "Okay, I'm playing keyboard." Then you stop
Mm.
playing keyboard and you get run behind the drum set and play drums with Billy Cobham. And when I saw that video of you, which I put a, oh no, 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 no. Hey, there you go. Yeah, because when I saw
Yeah.
you getting out there and sit down and play drums without even warming up, because you were playing keyboard for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
the thing. Yeah,
you
yeah.
sit down and you play that beautiful melody on that drum set with a great rhythm. I felt like, man, look at this guy, man. I mean, I was like, wow. No, it blows me away. I mean, and so I really
That's nice.
feel no. I really appreciate and admire, and I love your music, and you're such an inspiration to me and many others. And I gotta say that because that's how I feel. Jimmy, Jimmy Ford,
Jimmy Ford,
time and time.
great musician. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Grazie mille.
Jimmy Ford is from Los Angeles. He's from Brooklyn, New York.
I know Jimmy Ford. Sure.
He's from Brooklyn, New York, and moved in LA. I think Jimmy, when did you move to LA? I think it was 1987 or something like that. Um, so Gary, what would you advise, suggest, and wish to the young and upcoming musician? That's the last question before I let you go. I don't want to keep you on the screen with me
Well,
a long
well,
time. I know it's late in Europe.
yeah.
It's
I
getting
mean,
late.
just the usual stuff, really. Keep determined. Stay strong. Stay strong to everything you believe in. Stay strong to what you dream and you fantasize about in music. Hang on to those dreams and fantasies, and you'll find a way. If you've got the capacity to be able to enjoy them as you perceiving them in your dreams and in your fantasy, you've got the capacity to develop them for yourself. I really believe that stuff. The times I used to go to bed and really not prepared overly for something or get very frustrated preparing something, but reflecting a lot on what the challenge was at hand and how I was going to just enjoy it and make it right and just absolutely boost my confidence that way. So just follow it, believe it, and don't let anybody talk you down. Be resistant. Don't be a compromiser, and don't be a quitter.
That's it. If we didn't quit, they can't quit. If
Yeah,
at least if I didn't quit, they can't quit, man. I just. But again, I would like to thank you so much. And again,
yeah,
I'm going to say this: if you ever, when all this pandemic and COVID-19 is over,
yeah.
and if you're traveling to San Francisco Bay Area,
Yeah, you bet.
remember you have a little friend here, you got a little brother in
Great.
San Francisco. So give me a buzz. We can have some wine, playing some music, having a great time. And I hope to really to meet you in person. If I ever get to where you are, I will contact you, and eventually we can get together. And I'm gonna hanging out with the great Gary Husband. Hopefully,
Oh, I hope so too, Pepe. It's so sweet, really. And it's so sweet that you had me on this. Thanks for your interest.
my pleasure. Thank you very much. And again, Gary, you have a wonderful night, and let's keep in touch. I'm going to send you an email with my info. And now we can say we formally met, and I met one of my heroes, Gary Husband, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
you, Pepe.
Ciao, buonanotte. Good night. You're the best.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the great Gary Husband. I think this was very informative live stream. Peppe Merolla Friends with the great Gary Husband is one of the best. So please share if you like. And again, this week there's so many other guests coming up. Follow my page, my fan page on Facebook, this profile. Plus, please subscribe on my YouTube channel. There's many videos there, and all those interviews are also on YouTube. I would like to thank all of you guys for following. Keep playing music. Keep drumming. And let's see. I gotta get ready here. Okay, here we are. Thank you. That was Gary Husband today, Peppe Merolla and friends. Thank you, Gary. You are the best. Ciao ragazzi, Peppe Merolla. Hello everyone, Peppe Merolla here, and welcome to my online masterclass. This is a 3 hours masterclass with a maximum of 8 students in a class. And the reason for that is because I can focus on each and every one of my students. In this masterclass, I'll be talking about very important topics such as hands technique, including wrist and finger control, molar technique, push and pull, and rudiments. Un paradiddles triplets. Double paradiddle, paradiddle, double. Also, how to orchestrate all those rudiments and technique on a drum set. Bass drum technique, foot technique, how to develop a nice, fast, and accurate foot technique. I will see you inside my masterclass. Thank you.